Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. My name is Steven and this is the Storytime channel. Today we have some Idontworkherelady stories and our first story of the day is by alxwak. It's not a taxi, but I'll take the cake. In a previous post, I said that since I became an adult, I get almost one Idontworkherelady incident a month. This was my second ever incident and one of my most cherished memories. You'll see why. This happened in the early 2000s, 02 or 03. A small background is needed. At that point in my life, I'm a third-year nurse student in the capital. I'm sharing my apartment with a good friend and he is sharing his car. The alleged car was the major factor of the story. It was a brand cherished by taxi drivers and also yellow, the color of taxis in the capital. The major differences from a taxi were the lack of the taxi sign and that it was a hatchback. Taxis are sedans. It was common for someone to flag us down thinking it was a taxi until we came closer. Anyway, it was summer and my friend was island hopping with his fiancée and had left his car behind. I had woken up to an almost empty fridge and since I was paid the day before, I decided to forego the small convenience store in my neighborhood and drive to the big supermarket. I jumped in the car and took a major road artery to the store. I'm stopped in front of a bus stop, waiting for the light to turn green, when the back door opens and closes and I hear a woman's voice saying the name of a hospital. I turn around to say it's not a taxi, but I stopped in my tracks. A sweet old lady had entered the car. She was around 65 to 70. She is clutching her purse so hard, her knuckles are turning white. She is clearly panicked. She keeps mumbling, "Please hurry, she went into labor, please hurry." I put the car into gear and start driving towards the hospital. Nurse training kicks in and I start to talk to her to calm her down. She starts to calm and I get the whole story. Her granddaughter, 19 at the time, was pregnant and had a rough pregnancy. An hour ago, she went into premature labor and the grandma was panicking. We reached the hospital 20 minutes later. The guard at the entrance knows me because of hospital rotation. I drive up to the entrance and drop her. As she is trying to pay me, I tell her it's on the house. At that point, she realized it wasn't a taxi and got a bit embarrassed and tried to give me money again. I advised that if everything went well, send me a cake. Little did I know, 2 weeks later, my roommate is back and receives a call from the police. They wanted to find out if he was the owner of the car and if he could go to the station. My roommate asked me if anything had happened with the car while he was gone. I said no, almost having forgotten the incident. I decided to tag along and go to the station. We are met by an officer who guides us to an office. Inside is the sweet old lady with a box. She jumps up shouting, "That's him," and hugs me. The officer is smiling. He is the father of the granddaughter and now proud grandfather. Apparently, the lady told him about the incident and how helpful I was. He used his status as a police officer to get the plate from the CCTV and find the owner and thank me. The baby girl would have to spend some time in the hospital due to being almost 2 months early, but otherwise all right. So I got the cake. On a final note, I met the girl by coincidence a couple of years ago. She has turned out fine and is studying to be a nurse. Man, so let me ask you guys, if you were going to drive to the supermarket and it's a totally routine kind of day, and an old lady mistakes your car, hops in the back and says that they need to go to the hospital, would you just drive them there or would you try and explain that you're not a taxi or any kind of like Uber type thing? Let me know what you would have done in that situation in the comments down below. Our next story is by Stu Goddard. I do work here, but not for you. I work in IT contracting and specialize in quality control and software testing, and this happened about 10 years ago. I was hired by a company, client, as a member of their governance team. Basically, we were to assess the company they hired, Big Tech, to create their software and their testing standards and plans. Governance teams are hard to utilize correctly and only any good if the person you report to understands. Client was my customer and Alan was my boss from the company. So they decided to change our role to working directly with Big Tech on their test teams to watch what they were doing and bring up any issues to Alan. I am packing up to leave one day and Big Tech project manager appears out of nowhere and asks to have a meeting. Never spoke to the guy before, but I knew who he was. A bit surprised, I asked if it could wait till tomorrow as the day was over, and he said that is one of the things I need to discuss. A bit miffed, I agree. So we go into a meeting room with the windows where you can still see the office floor. He asks me to look out on the office and tell me what I see. No idea what he wanted me to say. I was a bit dumbfounded, so I said, "People working." He nods his head, repeating it, and then asks why I am not with them and was going home, and why I was not dressed appropriately for a client site and so unprofessional. Now I see the issue. He obviously thinks I work for him and not the client directly. I explain that I have done my work for the day, and does he expect me to stay doing nothing? He goes into a long-winded explanation of how the longer we are in the office, the more they have to pay. Intrigued, I asked, does that mean I would get paid more, or is it I should do unpaid overtime so big tech makes more money? He explained I was a salaried employee and should be grateful for the experience I was getting with their world-class company. I ask again then, if I have no more work, should I stay to charge the client more, and what should I do while I have nothing to do? He is getting a little frustrated with me, and his tone is getting more aggressive and said I should just look busy while I stay late. That is when I said, "You aren't my boss, I work for client, and Alan is my boss, not you." Alan was the person he reported progress and billing to. I was hired to make sure Big Tech were accurately creating the software and not overcharging client. You have just outlined how you are overcharging and tried to reprimand me for not taking part. You accused me of being unprofessional and not dressing professionally. My belief is you are acting unprofessionally, and it doesn't matter what you look like, and your insistence of the appearance of being busy to hide inaction illustrates this. You also appear to be taking advantage of your employees, and importantly, you do not know who does and doesn't work for you. He freaked out completely and started asking if we could keep this among ourselves, and that if I badmouthed the company, I would affect my chances of getting work in the future as they are so big. I explained it would not be very professional of me and that I would be accurately reporting on what was said. Asked if there was anything more he wanted to discuss, as he called this meeting, and I normally charge for overtime because I don't like to be taken advantage of. Then I left the room laughing, telling he may have some things to explain tomorrow. When I arrived the next day, he wasn't in his office, which was very unusual, as he was there first thing in the morning and last in the evening. I open up the calendar and look up Big Tech meetings and see PM has canceled all his meetings for the day. I ring my boss and ask does he know why PM is not in today and we should have a meeting. He is up for the meeting but said PM has had some family emergency and a new person was going to be the PM in the next few days. We have our meeting and I explain what happened. He was furious. He wanted the names of the people who were staying late and just surfing the net. Now, I worked side by side with these people and knew they didn't have any choice. Explained they weren't the issue, but being forced to stay by Big Tech made them stay and that they were actually good at the work and realistically, replacing them would stall the project. So he decided to get the timesheets and billing together. Suddenly, all the billing reports were password protected and they couldn't get in touch with PM due to the family emergency. Lots of reports gone missing from SharePoint, all with the PM's name showing a very late hour. He asked me to try and find the information while he contacted Big Tech to explain what is going on. As I'm looking through SharePoint, I notice that PM is still logged in and actively deleting files. So I contact the security section to kick him out of the system and get backups of SharePoint. Go to my boss's office and he is on the phone with Big Tech and he puts it on speakerphone and tells them I am on the call. He explains that Big Tech can't contact PM due to the family issue. So I point out he was just on our network deleting files 20 minutes ago. Silence is deafening from the other end. Tell them the files deleted and password protected now are all being restored and we would have them in a couple of hours. More silence. My boss then says they are concerned about the content of these files and why is PM logging onto their servers deleting files. More silence. I could go into the whole thing, but basically piles of documentation proving overcharging. The PM had been too stupid to understand the client's SharePoint was not his Big Tech SharePoint because, they have the same name. He was not having a family emergency. Shocker, right? And they were hiding him and letting him resign with a package. Now everyone knew what happened, and you would think the staff of Big Tech would hate me, but the opposite happened. They were told not to do any overtime without 3 signatures for approval from the client. It effectively stopped all overtime and made them all very happy. I have met many of them since on other projects, and they still thank me for getting PM out of the way. He did get other jobs but was let go several times because of his talk of being able to get projects over the deadline he had no ability to, and would just tell people to work longer hours. That is not sustainable and doesn't address problems with specifications and design issues. Not only is that not a sustainable method, I'm sure in a lot of places in the world, that kind of action is pretty illegal. Imagine it flying where your boss tries to hold you at work for multiple hours every single day you work there, because they want to get something done on an unrealistic deadline otherwise. Yeah, no. And our final story of the day is by TokyoDiamond. Karen, did you just assault me and make my baby cry? I know it's been a while since I posted here. Some things came up with my family. Everything is fine now. But this story here just happened about 3 days ago with me, my godson, newborn, and my so close best friend we could be sisters. Let's set the scene. Paris, 1834. Nah, I'm kidding. Target, kinda chilly outside, and somehow it's a bit cloudy. So I thought we was gonna get cold rain. During the time my BFF came to visit, I was in the midst of getting my godbaby together to take him home. His poor mom had to work that whole weekend, so we told my BFF to come with me. On our way, my godbaby mom asks if we could pick up some things for him and her from Target. Sure, why not? We see Target before we get to her house anyway, plus I needed to get some stuff afterwards, so why not get it all while we're there, right? Plus, one of my favorite cousins works there, so I could see her and finally let her see my godbaby from a distance. Might want to remember this for later on. So my friend cash apps me and off we go to Target. So we get in Target and I have my godbaby in his little carrier. Unfortunately, my friend bought the one that's too big for the front of the shopping cart, so I had to put it directly inside of the cart. Since CJ is only 1 month, he's too young for a mask, so I cover the carrier in a thick enough blanket. I ask my BFF to get another cart for the shopping, and now we're set. Now, to describe what we're wearing. Everyone knows Target uniforms is a basic red shirt with nothing on it and khaki pants. BFF wore a navy blue top with black flare pants and flats. I wore a V-neck burgundy top with flare sleeves and strings to tie it in a bow in the front with black flare jeans and some sneakers. So we're shopping, checking off things on our list and mine, then I'm looking over the list on the side of the walking area so I wouldn't be in anyone's way, and feeding CJ at the same time through the blanket. My little nugget got fussy, and I noticed I forgot something for him back a few aisles, so I asked my BFF to go put on a glove to hold his bottle and finish feeding him while I go get the item. Yeah, she's my BFF, but he's my godbaby, and with this pandemic still going around, I don't trust germs. I go to the aisle, looking hard because my glasses tend to slide and fall off a lot. Keep this in mind too. And then I hear that classic sound that irritates everyone so bad it makes them want to bang their head on the floor. That classic Karen, ahem. I turned my head and there she was. Pixie haircut, sunglasses on top of her head with no darn sun in sight, tight tank top, short shorts knowing darn well it's chilly outside, and flip-flops. I'm thinking to myself, is this the Karen uniform or something? But I digress. So I move out of the way, thinking I'm in her way, and continue looking for my item, and she sighs. And I can feel her staring burning through my skin, but I wasn't letting up. Then she says, "It's hard finding good help these days. Everyone wants to be lazy." I roll my eyes and put my head down saying, "Not today. Please just not today." I find my item and leave out the aisle. Now she's mad. Did I care? Nope. And I think she could sense that. Then she starts. Y'all know how this goes. "So you're not going to help me?" Nope. Karen, fake butt gasp. "And why not?" Okay, I'm gonna try to say this in a nice way because I see you one of those. Ma'am, I don't work here. I give you no indication that I work here. No, I'm not on break, and no, it's not my day off. I generally do not work here. Now I'm going to leave and put this in my shopping cart so I can pay and leave the store." Karen stops me as I'm backing up. Don't you dare walk away from me. I know you're lying. I've seen you here before working. You can't fool me. You just don't want to work. You will be fired when I'm done with you. I'm getting the manager. Me looks her up and down. Yeah, you do that. I go back to the carts and my BFF asks me what was taking so long. I tell her everything from A to Z and she chuckles. I see she's trying to burp CJ, so I tell her to let me try. Ever since this little nugget came out of the womb, he's been stubborn to do everything, including the burping. I place the towelette on my shoulder and him and give it a try. I'm 2 minutes in and he burps, and when I lay him down, baby boy is asleep. So now we can leave. But then I hear screaming and screeching. My eyes widen and my head slowly turns to the right when I see Karen coming down the wall area with a manager. BFF said, "Is that her?" "Yes, witch, that's her." Me and my friend use those terms with each other a lot, so please don't take offense to me or her calling each other that. We've been friends for almost 20 years. So Karen gets to us, still screaming, still screeching. "This is her. She should be fired for not helping a customer and lying about not working here. I'm a loyal customer. I have rights." I say, "Sir, can you please tell her to keep it down? I just put my son to sleep. Second, I've already told the Wicked Witch of the Northeast that I don't work here. What part of my clothes say I work here? And even if I did and was on my day off, customers are not entitled to get help from them if they are not working. But as I have told her, I don't work here." The manager said, "Ma'am, she really does not work here. All of this could have been avoided. Do you want me to help you?" "Yes, I want you to fire her. I know you're covering for her. I have seen her plenty of times working. If something doesn't happen right now, I'm calling corporate." Then from all that hollering, my godbaby starts crying, so I pick him up to try and calm him down. Now I'm mad. I don't like when people disturb my son, so I snapped. "Which I told you wow wubsy looking butt to keep the noise down because I just put my son to sleep. Now look, I got a hollering Oswald and a crying baby. Shut the freak up and move the freak on somewhere." Like dang, how hard is it for you to comprehend that I don't freaking work here? What, you that darn embarrassed at the fact that you're wrong that you gotta keep up this stupid butt image just so you can try to be right? Get the freak away from us so I can calm my son down. I guess all of that set her off and she paid absolutely no attention to the fact that I still had my godbaby in my arms because she launched at me with her arms in the air, and when it came down, it looked like she hit me because I moved my face quick enough for her not to. By that time, my glasses slide off and fell on the floor and broke. Yep, now I'm really pissed. Those were the only glasses I had too, and I had just tried to make an eye doctor appointment the week prior. They're full this month and next month and don't have December appointment books yet. I'm beyond pissed. I'm pissed to the highest level of pisstivity, darn it. Then the ultimate happened. My cousin. So my cousin comes around the corner being nosy AF. We can't help it. And when she noticed it was me, now she wants to know what the freak is going on. The manager wants to know what this had to do with her, and when she said she was my big cousin, both he and Karen looked at us and saw we looked so much alike, it was no wonder Karen had us mixed up. We are two sisters' kids. My mama is the third oldest daughter and her mama is the baby girl. So the manager tells my cousin to calm me down because he sees I'm about ready to fight while he goes and calls the police. He didn't ask me if I wanted the police called, he just said he was gonna call the police. Oh, that set Karen all the way off. She's kicking and screaming while he's pulling her to his office. My cousin calms me down while I'm gently bouncing to put my godbaby back to sleep. The police came, I gave them my statement, my BFF gave her statement, cousin gave her statement because even though she didn't see it, she heard it and she's a family member. Manager paid for the baby stuff, and the police said they'll get back in touch with me over Karen after he put her in handcuffs and put her in the back of a police car. Now, letting everyone know, yes, we did have our masks on and only took them off to talk to the manager. During the time I was burping my godbaby, I had the blanket over him. I still don't trust germs. I told her mom everything, and she died laughing. I'm just surprised my BFF didn't say anything this whole time because knowing her, she would have jumped in. That rant OP had was one of the most realist and hard-cutting things. The layers of it, identifying that the Karen is so far deep into being guilty and wrong that they can't admit it, absolutely beautiful. And I'm kinda glad that Karen got escorted out by the police officer. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So, which of these stories was your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing and turn notifications on if you haven't so you'll never miss an upcoming video. Any little thing that you do helps the channel grow so much more. Whether it's commenting, subscribing, or just watching the video, thank you all so very much for supporting me right here on the Storytime channel. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all next time, right here on the Storytime channel.